Now I want to move to the mark of the beast. In Apocalypse 13:16 through 18, we find surely what is the most famous verse in all of the Apocalypse. We read, quote, "And he shall make all, both little and great, rich and poor, freemen and bondmen, to have a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads." And then it continues, "And that no man might buy or sell, but he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. He that hath understanding, let him count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and the number of him is 666. End quote. So we have a number of different statements there, and people often, when considering this verse or these verses, join them all together. But there are a number of different statements that need to be looked at individually. And so I want to begin by focusing on the second part of this set of statements. And before I do that, people have to remember the point that I have been making throughout this discussion, which is that if something is done by the empire itself, the beast coming out of the sea, that is done by the beast. And if something is done by the head of the beast, that is also done by the beast. But that which is done by the beast or the empire itself doesn't necessarily have to be done by the head of the beast. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, I want to move to the second statement, "And that no man might buy or sell, but he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Now, the first thing I want to say is here is a coin of the European Union. Here is a euro coin. On the euro coin, we can see the image or the mark of the European Union. We see the map of the European area, the Mediterranean. You can see Italy and the boot. That's on every single euro coin. It's also on every single European cash note. Here's a picture of a euro cash note. You can see the map of the European Union with the Mediterranean, etc. On some of the smaller denominations of money, they don't have a full map, but they have an image or a mark of the different countries. So they have the Union represented. The mark is on every single euro, coin or cash. It's also interesting that when we look at this euro coin, we see 6 stars up at the top, 6 stars at the bottom, and we see 6 lines connecting them. So you have 666 on all the coins. However, there's a much more interesting 666 connection, which I will discuss. And so, in the Eurozone, even though the Eurozone isn't directly identical to the European Union, there are a few countries which are in the European Union which are not in the Eurozone, and there are a few countries which are in the Eurozone which are not in the European Union. But here's a map of the Eurozone. You can see the whole, basically, Western European area. This whole block of continental Europe is part of the Eurozone. So no man can buy or sell, whether you're using cash or coins, without the mark of the beast coming out of the sea. If St. John saw the Roman Empire, the beast arising out of the sea, and then he sees the new Roman Empire rising out of the sea, and then he sees its currency, and he sees the mark of the beast on every single coin, every single cash note. And so one could see how this fits precisely with what he said. It's also interesting that with the euros, you have on the coins a national side and a common side. So, for instance, if you're in France, you will have a euro which has a specialized side for France, but it will have the common side which has the map of the Union, the mark of the, what I believe is the beast out of the sea. And a country can't modify the common side which has the mark of the Union without that money ceasing to be legal tender. Now, what's very interesting is that there was a euro released in Greece with its national side and a common side, and on the national side you had the image of the woman on the beast. St. John sees the woman on the beast, as we read in Apocalypse 17. That's how he depicts the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. We already showed that Europa from Greek mythology is depicted as the woman on the beast. The European Union uses that very symbol for itself, the woman on the beast. And we have on its Greek euro coin, the national side, a woman on a beast. And this is even more important to consider because St. John was receiving this vision on the island of Patmos, which is in modern-day Greece. And so if he were alive today, when he was receiving this vision, he would be in Greece, he would be part of the European Union, and the specialized coin that they released in the very country he would be in had the image of the woman on the beast. So we can see how what he's prophesying about how this beast arising out of the sea, it has its mark on all of its currency, you can't buy or sell without it, could very well be, and I believe is, fulfilled here. And some people might say, well, what about payment in other ways outside of cash or coins, such as credit cards or other kinds of payments? And what's interesting is that it says in this verse that no man might buy or sell unless he has the mark of the beast, the name of the beast or the number of his name, and the name of the beast means the authority of the beast. So that could be a way of indicating payments in other ways. But we have to remember that this is a general statement about what's going on. It's not necessarily all exclusive. And so if no one can buy or sell in cash or coins without the mark of the beast, I believe that's fulfilled. It's also worth noting that people who have commented on the Greek of this passage point out that even though it's usually translated no man might buy or sell, it doesn't necessarily mean every single man. It could be a general prohibition or a large portion or some. So if there are even any exceptions at all to that, it does not disprove what is being prophesied or show that that cannot be the fulfillment. Because even those who imagine that a system will come in which there is a totally universal prohibition of buying and selling without some kind of mark, even in that kind of system, they would have to admit that there will probably be some people who are trading or buying and selling who are outside of the system. And so if there are even a few exceptions, it does not invalidate the point. Because we have to remember, St. John is writing from the Mediterranean Sea, the Roman Empire. He's writing to people within the Roman Empire. He's concerned with what's going to happen in Europe and in the area of the Mediterranean. Some people are also under the impression that the Bible says that whoever buys or sells with the mark of the beast is damned. The Bible doesn't teach that. As we're going to see, the passages which talk about those who are damned for having the mark are damned for having the mark in their hand or forehead and adoring the image. Okay? So there's a link between the mark in the hand or forehead, which I'm going to discuss, and adoring the image of the beast. It doesn't say that people who buy or sell with the mark of the beast are damned. Not once. And so I believe this is the fulfillment of what St. John was prophesying concerning buying or selling and the mark of the beast. Now, moving back to the first part of the statement, concerning how the second beast causes all, great and small, to have a mark or character in their right hand or on their foreheads. And it goes on to say that the number of the beast is the number of a man, and the number of him is 666. Now, the first thing I want to say is that there is overwhelming scriptural evidence, and I'm going to discuss it, that the mark of the beast has a spiritual fulfillment, in addition to what I believe is the physical fulfillment concerning the buying and the selling. The evidence that it is a spiritual mark, and I believe the mark in the hand and forehead, hand and head is a spiritual mark, as I will show. The evidence that that's spiritual, not a physical, literal mark, is overwhelming, okay, and I will get to that. But before I do, I need to point out and discuss that Benedict XVI's name in Greek, Benedictos, is exactly 666. The numerical value of his name comes out to exactly 666. That is stunning. If he is the second beast, as I'm saying I believe he is, and if he is the seventh king, the final one who will cause people to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed, and cause people to worship the Antichrist, because most commentators, although it's not unanimous, identify the first beast who is wounded as the Antichrist, and the second beast who causes people to worship him as the false prophet. That also would fit with John Paul II and Benedict XVI, because John Paul II fits precisely with the figure of Antichrist. Benedict XVI, because of his false reputation as a conservative, fits with the title of false prophet, causing people to worship the Antichrist. And so if he's the seventh king, the second beast, the last king causing people to worship the king who is wounded, could it be that the reason his name equals 666 is because this is the signal that he is the seventh king. Because we saw in Apocalypse 17 that 5 are fallen, one is, the sixth is when the beast comes into existence. The other is not yet come, and when he has come, he must remain a short time. And so, if he is the seventh king, the fact that his name stunningly comes out to 666 in Greek, is that a signal that he is the final guy causing people to worship the Antichrist? I believe so. Now, it's so interesting because throughout history people have speculated who the beast might be. Is it Nero? Was it someone else? And they've tried to force fit their names, usually by adding letters to try to get the numerical value to come out to 666. Sometimes it would be in a different language, like Latin or Hebrew. But Benedict XVI's name comes out to exactly 666, and it does so in Greek, and that's the crucial language because St. John wrote the Apocalypse in Greek,